Good morning. It is November 20th, 2024, 9:01 a.m. Got a little distracted with checking on the outro. Porky Pig, it has been doing a double sound. I don't know if everybody has noticed that, but there's kind of an echo in it. And so I was trying to do some adjustments and it's not adjusting right. Ooh, look at that. I have dropped frames. Do we have buffering? Do you guys have buffering? I was trying to find a way for SpeakerBot to show me, to alert me to drop frames. I thought I had an option that would do it, but it doesn't seem to do what I thought it would do. Nick Poverman needs some help with secure boot. Go ahead and ask your question,
Read chat, please.
Rand Israel says no buffering, but video is a bit jerky. So when you say no buffering, that would mean you're not seeing the spinning circle on your side. But I still think that counts as buffering. Because let's see.
Read chat, please.
What if I show, Rand says better now. And is the buffering increasing? If I show audio sources, yeah, you can see the drop frames down at the bottom. So they're not increasing. So they have stopped. All right. Hi. On a, let's see, it's a Wednesday, because I don't think I said that. It's not really a Wednesday if I don't say it, is it? I don't say it is. There was a trailer this morning, for those of you who didn't see it. It is the edited version of that laptop repair, and that's not quite what I'm going to do for publishing to public. I'm going to add some end cards on the end. Zvi Manor dropped twice, now good. There have been occasions where YouTube, as it distributes the content, sometimes an area for the distributed signal has problems. Yeah, but I was showing drop frames where I'm broadcasting from, so that was from my side, although they're not increasing anymore. Jeff's I'm looking at asking for a second RMA on a new Asus motherboard. Original came back from the first RMA and now won't even start to post. Wow. So Nick says Windows just boots into repair and fails. Is there a reason why you think that's a secure boot problem? Let's make sure I've got all of Nick's. Need some help with secure boot. We are turning secure boot on, and now the computers will not boot to Windows 10. We need this on to upgrade to 11 without wiping and doing a clean install. Interesting. When Windows just boots into repair and fail. So when you turn secure boot on, it will not boot Windows 10. Do you have GPT partition type? I think partition type's the right word for that, isn't it? Because on Windows 10, you might have MBR partitions, and I don't think secure boot, I'm not sure if secure boot will work with that, but you'll have trouble upgrading to Windows 11 for sure. Greg M. looks like he's answering. He's saying these machines are GPT formatted. That sounds like a statement. Did you actually mean to say, are these machines GPT formatted and using AHCI? And Nick says GPT and UEFI are on. So when you turn secure boot on, they will not boot into Windows 10. So
yes, affirmative.
You'll see, yes, that is what he meant. Usually when you go If you turn secure boot off, are you then immediately able to boot into Windows 10? And I'll have to say I have not seen this symptom. I have not upgraded a lot of computers from Windows 10 to Windows 11. The ones I've done went very simply. Those computers came from the manufacturer capable of Windows 11. Now, these computers you're talking about, are they otherwise all qualified? Have you gone, in Windows 10, have you gone through the health check? I think that's what they call it, health check, what Microsoft calls it, to verify that the computer is capable of Windows 11 before trying to do that? Or are you just going straight to turning secure boot on and think then you'll try to install it? They just try to repair. Yes, we can get back in Windows 10 after turning secure boot off. Are you sure these computers have hardware to support Windows 11? That's why I'm saying do the Windows 11 health check. It's not sufficient to say that they are 11th core i7. I want you to run the health check under Windows 10. Run the health check for Windows 11 because there might be something else. It's not just a matter of the CPU. There should be a BIOS option to reset the secure boot keys. Exact terminology may vary across vendors. Yeah, I suppose that could be an issue. Nick says the health check says to turn on secure boot. Yeah, so after you turn on secure boot, the ideal thing would be to go back and run health check again after you've turned on secure boot, but it won't boot for you. Okay, so if secure boot is off, wouldn't it fail the test for Windows 11? Yeah, that's exactly what he's telling us, Chris, that the health check is telling him to turn secure boot on. Now let's go take a look at this way. So this is a happy day. I'm being totally taken a different direction than what I had in mind, which is what I want to be doing. So absolutely, this is what I want to do. When somebody has a question, let's go see what we can do with it. Let's see, he's got more than 3, so I've got to go over here to see the rest of it, of his. So we're turning on secure boot. And now the computers will not boot to Windows 10. We need to upgrade this to Windows 11. Let's just go with that much. I'm sure you've done Google searches, but you haven't told me the results of your Google searches. So we'll just go ahead and do this together. Outdated BIOS version. So have you checked for a BIOS update? The main cause of boot failure after enabling secure boot issues and outdated BIOS version, GPU failure. This issue could also be that the dedicated GPU is starting to fail. So you could run some tests under your Windows 10 that are working. Run tests for the GPU and other hardware. Is this a major brand computer? Tell us more about the computer. Outdated SSD drivers. If you're able to boot without secure boot enabled, your SSD driver may be the cause. So there's a few things just right off the bat, but he may have already been through all of that. We don't know yet. Or I don't know yet. Maybe you do, because maybe he's told you that already. Great trader, by the way, from Alice. Thank you, Alice. Jim, see you later. I kind of thought you probably asked that question before you saw that answer from him. I should have said that when I read Chris's question. BIOS is up to date, and we tried all kinds of tests on the CPUs, and the Google search was saying specifically the GPUs. Does it have a dedicated GPU? They are ASUS motherboards, so this is implying custom-built computers, I think. The method you described for upgrading in place using the media creation tool, during the upgrade in place function, do you think it's possible that following that pathway will not only upgrade to Windows 11, but turn on secure boot? No. As far as I've seen, doing an in-place upgrade or anything regarding Windows upgrade or update will not turn secure boot on. You have to do that. And if you run the setup.exe for Windows 11 from Windows 10, you should get a message that the computer's not capable of it because it doesn't have secure boot on. Workstations, not GPU. I'm not sure what you mean when you say workstations, but they don't have dedicated graphics processor. So your graphics is probably integrated in a Intel CPUs. So as we checked all the stuff that you just talked about, is there anything on your short list of suspicions as to what's going on? Because if I keep pulling a little bit more out of you, I know you can only type one chat message at a time. So let's see what else we can throw out for you. On many systems I have built, I was offered Windows 11 without secure boot. Yeah, but where is that happening? If that's just happening on the Windows Update screen and you haven't actually gone through the health check, then you just haven't gone far enough into the upgrade process to see that. On the Windows Update screen, you may see a message that your computer is qualified or something for Windows 11, or you might see a message that it's not. I don't know what specifically that is based on. If it says that you are qualified for it and then you click next, I think then you get into the health check, because it's got to download the health check and run the health check. I'm not sure when and where all that happens. Now, actually, John, you've got a point here. You got a point here. I have Windows 11 computers that don't have secure boot turned on. If you do a fresh install of Windows 11, I'm 95% sure that will not work unless you have secure boot on. But if you're upgrading from Windows 10 that does not have secure boot on, I think you can upgrade without turning secure boot on as long as your computer is capable of it. I'm not certain about that, but I have computers that have Windows 11. Now, I think they came with Windows 11 pre-installed. Well, definitely these B-Link computers and the Ace Magic and the Ping DB, DingB, whatever that one's called, Ping DB, I think. And the GMK Tech, those all come in with Windows 11 installed and secure boot turned off. So have you tried running setup.exe from the Windows 11 installation media while Windows 10 is booted with secure boot off? Yeah, Nick, have you tried that? They're all the same motherboards. 7 do not work, 25 work. What do you mean they don't work? Do you mean they will not upgrade to Windows 11 and 25 will? So you're only having this problem on 7 computers? I'm not sure what you mean when you say won't or will work. All of these PCs are the same. Okay, so see, sometimes, Lawn Dog, I decide not to read it because you haven't really added anything here. With this brief discussion on the subject, it sounds like Microsoft is drawing another line in upgrading Windows 11 mandatory secure boot. That doesn't really add anything. You're just kind of talking. So that's why I'm skipping some of your stuff. It's got to really catch my eye. I'd pick one, the 7 that fails, one of the 25 that works, compare their BIOS settings line by line and their BIOS version. Consider motherboard version closer. Consider anything about the history of the computers. Do they have any utility software installed? Turn secure boot on if you have some kind of a security software, McAfee, Norton, anything else, because they are watching what's happening at boot time. So any of those type utility programs, I'd prefer to uninstall them. And I'd prefer to uninstall them with Revo Uninstaller. But I'd be suspecting there's something going on there. Then another thing you could do is just put in another hard drive and see if that is basic Windows 10. Put another hard drive that is just basic Windows 10 and see if you can accomplish it with that, because that's going to tell you something that's on the hard drive of your existing systems. So that's like a major surgery type of troubleshooting tool where you make a major change, put a different drive in with a very generic Windows 10, and then see if you can accomplish turning on secure boot and still being able to boot into Windows 10 and then upgrade to Windows 11. So Nick, I see a message that says we tried all of that. So what happened when you put in a generic Windows 10 hard drive, a different hard drive? Was that the same behavior? And if it was the same behavior, then that's saying it's something about the hardware. I even took one hard drive from a working one into one that will not boot, that did not make a change. Okay, so that's a great troubleshooting step. That tells you the problem is with the hardware somehow. Do you have any other devices connected to the computer? Disconnect all USB devices other than keyboard and mouse. Remove any other cards that might be installed in the computer that's not required for accomplishing this. Now, you said a hard drive from a working one. Did you take a basic Windows 10 installation? Now, I'm not saying that you have to prove this correctly, but you said you tried all of that. Nah, the word all is, I've kind of said a lot of things. Do you really mean every one of those items? Even to OneDrive from the did not make a change. Save BIOS to flash from a working machine and flash that onto a non-working one. Well, that's pretty advanced. Starting to think about faulty boards. Nothing else is connected. No cards installed. Aren't you proud of me for understanding that one? Took a basic Windows 10. Man, you've done a lot of stuff on this. That is fascinating. How about a blank hard drive that has nothing on it, brand new hard drive, or wipe the drive, and then put the drive in the computer, enable secure boot, and see if you can install a fresh copy of Windows 11, or even a fresh copy of Windows 10. You're at a point here of just doing some major troubleshooting. Let's see, the motherboard itself, unable to, was it 7 of them or 25 of them? 7 that fail, 25 that works. Google searching the specific motherboard brand and model that secure boot will not turn on. Now, I'm very interested in this, the comment somebody made earlier about resetting the secure boot keys. When you, depending upon how the BIOS works, you may be able to find a place where you can go find a selection, reset keys to manufacturer defaults, or reset secure boot keys. That would be done from within BIOS. We can install Windows 11 as a clean install. That's not the issue. Okay, no, this is a troubleshooting piece of information. This is a very important statement. So on these computers, you can turn secure boot on and do a clean install of Windows 11. The problem is when you have Windows 10 installed on the hard drive and you go to enable secure boot. So somehow that Windows 10 installation on that hard drive is not able to cooperate with secure boot. Now here's, yeah, they tried resetting the keys. Okay, good, can let go of that. Here's my next question. I want to be sure Nick is listening to this specific question. If I can keep it in my head long enough, go on. Oh, it's just slipping away. Oh, okay. So you said you took the drives that from computers that were working. So it's a Windows 10 drive from one of the other computers where on that other computer you were able to turn secure boot on and still boot into Windows 10. So you took that drive, to a computer that's failing, and it has all the same hardware, same motherboard, so it's going to be same driver, so that's completely legit to do. And you put it in one of the computers that's failing, turn secure boot on that problem computer, and that hard drive will not boot. Then you can take that hard drive, put it back into the original computer, and it boots fine, or maybe it goes through a repair process. So since you've been replying with did that, I got to watch here to be sure that I don't say anything else. So here I finished that description, waiting to see. Optional updates, that wouldn't seem to be the issue, because he took a drive from a computer that successfully turned secure boot on and still goes into Windows 10. Put that on the computer that's not working, has all the same hardware. How could optional updates possibly be part of that? I'm not seeing it, but maybe. So I'm waiting to see the response from Nick. Yes to everything you just said, Doug. Yikes. Have you tried ordering a pizza from the largest pizza parlor in your town to see if that would make a difference? No, I'm not serious. I'm just saying everything we say, you're saying that you've already tried it. Wow. Are these computers using the same Windows license key? All right. Reasonable. Yeah, that I'm taking as a reasonable question. Not using the same Windows license keys. So the Windows 10 license keys on there, were they all purchased from? We're kind of throwing mud at the wall here now, but these were custom built computers, it sounds like, because he hasn't given us a brand name. So are these all license keys that you purchased from from Microsoft directly, more likely from a third-party license key? And with that question, is there any similarity there, like the 7 computers, were they all built in the same time span of each other? And the 25 computers that are working, are they in any way different in their setup and install and their license purchases? Take a backup of the old system, image backup of the old system, install new Windows 10 after secure boot enabled, restore only C partition from backup to the disk. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I have done that many times. Some people aren't aware, I suspect some people aren't aware, if you make an image backup and then you restore, you don't have to restore all the partitions. You can restore just the C drive. So what Zavi is saying here is make up a backup of your Windows 10 before turning secure boot on the problem computer. And then do a new Windows install with secure boot enabled. Once that's successful, then restore only the C drive. I like that a lot. And if you're doing that with a image backup software that is secure boot aware, it should be, that should not violate secure boot. I have not researched all the details of when does secure boot throw up a red flag on the play and say, no, you can't do that change. Will it boot 10 into safe mode with secure boot on? Yeah, now then also in like Macrium Reflect, the paid edition has a boot problem repair on one of its menu options that I have seen it fix problems that Windows won't boot after having done something to the operating system, and secure boot might be one of the things that it can fix. Oh, finally, to John. Nick says no. Are all, well, no, that's just license keys. That wasn't, have you tried? They should be different license keys. Did you test drive from a non-working PC on a working PC, vice versa, or both? I think he did tell us that. He took a drive from a working PC, put it on a non-working PC, and it did not work. Responding to Wintermute, not. Will boot 10 into safe mode with secure boot on. Let's see, what did he tell us that happens when Windows 10 is started after turning secure boot on? We've been near the beginning. Will not boot Windows 10. Okay, what happens? Windows just boots into repair and fails. So boots into repair, you should be able to select advanced troubleshooting options and get to a command prompt and try to do the option about, oh, what am I thinking? System file checker and the next procedure after that, whatever the heck that's called. You know, I'm not a big fan of either of those, but that sounds like a place where that might help. You should be able to get into something other than just the automatic repair and then can't get anything further. DISM, thank you, Wintermute. Did all the command prompt stuff. It didn't work. So it wasn't just the repair and fails. You've tried other stuff there. Did all the command prompt stuff. None of it worked. I would run some good hard drive testing tools. Don't use Microsoft tools. 7 computers that won't boot after secure boot. Then you can reverse that. I'm not buying that. No drive encryption. Good question. We did that. You are not getting it. So Nick sounded a little frustrated there. Well, you've done a heck of a lot of stuff. So the odds of us throwing something at you that you haven't already tried. Now, one thing that was Zavi's suggestion up there. So Nick, give me a response about Zavi's suggestion about fresh install Windows 10 with secure boot on and then restore only the C drive from an image backup. I understand you repeating yourself. Sounds like a third-party software issue. Well, the fresh install of Windows 10 with secure boot mode on and then restore C drive. Going to try the image backup, C drive only plan. I will let you know. Good. Well, we got one thing. I feel pretty optimistic about that. And that's a pretty reasonable thing to do. Once you have that fresh install of Windows 10 with secure boot on, make an image backup of that so that you can restore that image to the other troublesome computers. If this method works, you could restore that image to the other troublesome computers. So you would go to, if you find that this method works, go to the other computers, make an image backup as they are now, restore the let's see, shut the computer down, turn on secure boot, boot into your image restore program, whatever you're using, and restore the base Windows 10. Make sure the computer will boot on that, and then restore the C drive from the original computer to that so that you could cut down the amount of time it takes for the other computers. Recovery partition is large enough on Windows 10. The January issue was never fixed by MS. That's a reasonable question. Those computers that have the trouble, look at the size of their recovery partition. Compare it to the computers that are functional. All of the software is the same on every PC. Okay, so you don't really care about doing backup images of the other failing computers because they don't even have user files, user documents, or desktop icons that they care about that you would want to back up and restore. I don't think I need to give Nick a refresher on his backup software. All right. I think we've given you a good thing to go down, and I don't feel like we're on anything else. They're all
Read
exactly
chat, please.
the same. Looks like looks like they did finally fixed it. They did finally fix it. Ran Israel. I'm gonna guess pulls broken 441 replaces it with that. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about that. I'm not sure that that fixed the size issue of that recovery partition. That just might have stopped. I do remember that they stopped that error that was happening over and over and over. It doesn't necessarily mean they fixed the partition size issue. I did look into that back when that came out. I don't think that's of any use to Nick. So they're exact. Oh, I think it's a school environment, isn't it? So no, it's not. It's not end users that have their own content on the desktop. I think when he says exactly the same, I think these are used in a school environment, so they are exactly the same with no user content. Am I right about that, Nick? Is that a school environment you're at? We've got a few people around here that are dealing with lots of PCs that they manage. All right. I'm going to go look at a couple of emails that I had lined up for today to see if I really need to cover that or not. Oh, yeah, because this one's fun and easy. All right. I'm about to ask you to put ones and zeros in chat. You remember that? Let's see. Nick says, not at school, at my office with doctors and support staff. Still, there's no unique desktop content. All right. I think we'll move along there, Nick. Very eager to hear back from you about that. I'm not going to be doing a show tomorrow. We'll be doing a show on Friday. If anything else comes to my mind about your issue, I'll certainly make a note of it to say talk about that on Friday. But very eager to hear back from you. Do you remember I had a computer that had a defective USB port and a no, that's not the one I'm talking about. No, that one I returned. Do you remember the one that I returned an empty box because it arrived with nothing in the box? I have received a response. Put a 1 in chat if you think the problem is solved and I got the refund. Put a 0 in chat if you think the problem's not resolved and I got to do something else because I sent them an empty box. Nick says, it's an office with doctors and support staff, and he will let us know. We'll try the C drive only clone. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so I'm seeing people responding in chat. I got a response about that return where I sent them an empty box. Jeff thinks there's still a problem. Darren thinks it's solved and I got the refund. So there we're seeing, oh, Darren gives it, he's really, really sure that it's fixed. He's done that 4 times. So V1, which Danielle. You got a fresh empty box? I got an email return because I sent them the empty box back. So how have they responded to that? Yeah, the model number at work. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go bring up that email, make sure I'm not revealing anything here that I shouldn't ought to be. Here we go. November 16th, I received this email. We received the item below and have issued your refund. Thank you for sending the item back. Your return is now complete. That was the SEI 12. That was the i5 Link computer that I received an empty box. They refunded $356.47. I think that's just craziness. Yeah, I ought to have a drum roll. I need to add a drum roll to my buttons. Yeah. Wow. Really? Can you imagine the clerk who's seen that come in? They can receive this box. It's so light. They know there's something wrong here. They examine the box. There's no damage to the box that I sent back to them. They open the box. There's nothing in it. What do they do? What's their reaction at that point? When I took that to UPS to ship it, I explained to them, look, it's an empty box. That's the only thing I know to do. And they laughed. On the other side of the counter, she just started laughing. She had to go back and talk to her supervisor. And they sent that box back to them. I'm acknowledging that I received an email from Josh Kinder asking for help with his Macrim Reflect on Monday or Tuesday of next week. So that might be a remote connection session during a normal live stream next week. And it's quite likely that I might not do a show on Tuesday and Thursday next week. That's undecided at the moment. Oh, Danielle, that's a good idea, Danielle. Maybe they just scanned the label without opening the box. Is that possible? Do we really believe that they don't verify what's in the box before doing the refund? I've had times where I take the box to UPS, and by the time I get home, I have an email saying that they have received the item and issued the refund. They don't even wait for the box to get to them. But this time, based upon the amount of time elapsed from when I took the empty box to the UPS store and when they sent me the email, they waited to receive it. And the way that those work, when I give those to the UPS store, they don't always send it that day because they accumulate multiple items and then send a bunch of stuff in a larger box. So when something is being shipped back to Amazon, it doesn't necessarily get shipped out very soon. They're accumulating other returns and sending them in a larger box in order to make that efficient. That's why you're told sometimes that you don't need to package it. Just return the item with your paperwork to wherever they're telling you to return it to. And sometimes you're not even doing a box, just the item. I did not do any extra insurance because that is all handled by the QR code from Amazon. They make those decisions. No damage in shipping when you send it back. I rarely get funds right away, probably due to dollar amount being returned. I returned my motherboard, memory, and CPU and waited 2 weeks. It varies depending upon who you're buying it from, I think. Because, when you buy something off of Amazon, off to the right side, it says sold by. Sometimes it says Amazon, sometimes it's some other seller who sells things through Amazon, and their return policies and procedures can vary. And it also might vary depending upon how much stuff you have returned in the past, and whether you have any reputation problems with them about your returns. They were all sold by Amazon for him. John, I've returned items to Amazon, received a notification before leaving the Kohl's department store. Yeah. I'm not sure that I've actually seen that happen for myself, but it may have happened and I just didn't notice it. Okay, so no show tomorrow. At the moment, I'm planning to do the regular show on Friday and Saturday. And that will do it. Now, some of you, I know you're able to continue chatting after I do the Porky Pig. So I want you to put in chat a 1, and when I play Porky Pig, give me a 1 if you hear kind of an echoing, kind of a double sound. Give me a 0 if it sounds completely normal and nothing at all is wrong. Okay? So 1 if you're hearing kind of the double sound. 0 if it sounds completely normal and correct. All right. Have a great day, everybody. I'll catch you later. Goodbye.
That's all.